We're not gonna start over.
We're not starting over.
We're
running with it, baby.
We're just gonna keep on barreling through. All right, so we're gonna talk about Capcom doing some stuff that probably was not so great. We're gonna talk about a bunch of tournament results, although not forever. We're gonna talk about some other game news. We're gonna talk about some community news, and we're gonna talk about Civil War. And there are gonna be super spoilers.
That's
and so that will be at the end. We'll give you the whole warning. If you don't want to know anything about it,
I'm spoiling it right now through my pores.
Right. But hey, you know what?
I'm spoiling the movie.
That'll be at the end, so you'll have plenty of UltraChen time before that comes up.
Yes, that is correct.
It's so good.
It's very good. That's not a spoiler, all right? Thumbs up.
The helicopter scene?
Fucking
Jesus!
Alright, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm good. Just gonna lie. I survived seeing it sitting there. Dude.
I survived twice seeing it next
Okay, we'll get into it
We'll
later.
talk about it later.
Okay.
Anyway,
Capcom,
what's this first thing about?
Yeah, so look, Capcom CEO came out, and you saw those commercials before of with like that hotel company with Captain Obvious or something like that? Like, yeah, that's pretty much the situation here. The Capcom CEO came out and admitted that Street Fighter V needed a little bit more polish during launch.
You think, huh?
Just a little bit. Wasn't much missing there.
And basically they said, okay, we're not... Because look, they tried to get it out for the fiscal year. They wanted to get it out because they wanted to make some money for the fiscal year. This is the way companies work. This fiscal financial year is super important. I hate it. I hate the way it works. It causes companies to do really stupid things.
Like release Street Fighter V.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the CEO said, we won't do that. We're going to try to make sure the quality is good from now on and before we release a, like half-completed game.
Yeah, he specifically mentioned the lack of content and server issues at launch.
Yeah. And we also, apparently, according to some online detectives, going through and finding the resume, I guess, of the guy who was writing, who basically worked on the game, and the resume said something like, hey, I implemented the netcode for Street Fighter V. It was a one-man operation.
It was for CFN, right? He's like, yeah, I built the structure and everything for CFN. A one-man job by myself. And I was like, wow.
There's no basically about it that he worked on the game. He built that game in a significone way.
By himself.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Like that is terrifying.
It's terrible. One, it's what we got. Two, it's terrible. And three, it's the fact that it leaked out. So now you know that that's negligence on your part. Why would you give a job like that to one person, especially when you expect it to house so much of something that you need?
It's
didn't they outsource the netcode to some other company too? Also, I heard about.
Apparently to this guy.
I don't think it's
I thought this guy was just CFN, and then like netcode was like another company or something.
Right.
I don't know. It sounds like good ideas.
I mean, look, I know being a part of a software company that stupid things like this happen. I mean, like it just happens, but this is like the most important part of your game. Like the netcode, like at some point in time, fighting game companies like Iron Galaxy, like Lab Zero, are going to realize that the netcode is like 90% most important thing about your game, right? I mean, because...
Yeah, I mean, for those guys, that was like 3 years ago at this point.
I mean, like...
that those games came out with sick netcodes.
Your structural integrity of this game now is being housed online at most point. Because there's... Regardless of how many people of us play fighting games competitively, there's going to be those guys that like to play in their underwear and not put on pants or shoes and not leave their house.
Right.
Those are the people that I feel like you have to appease anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong. Idiots like us, we're going to buy it anyway. But there's still people out there that play at their house and they need that.
And Street Fighter Cross Tekken should have been a lesson for them. Not in their netcode, because the netcode was good, but it should have been a lesson that when you build bad relationships with your users, it's hard to get them back.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for Street Fighter V, the game is good. The game itself is good. So we're all playing it and we all enjoy it. And so, when Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out at first, nobody liked it because it was Timeout Fest, right? And so that kind of, the DLC and the Timeout Fest kind of killed it. So it didn't succeed as a as a product or as a game at first, and it was too late. Street Fighter V, fortunately, is succeeding as a game, but as a product.
Yeah, like it's a double-edged sword. To us, it's a really good game. I can sit there and I play that game. We stream it, we talk about it. But like I said before, the other half of that, and I feel like is actually the majority, is the people that play it at their house.
Yeah,
Sure.
So
way more than us.
I feel like not only is Capcom accountable to us, they're accountable to those people as well. Because, I mean, let's face it. Like I said, it is a subpar product when you take it home.
Yeah, it really is.
Easy.
I mean, so I oftentimes play games while I'm, starting my workday. If I'm working at home, I'm like answering emails or whatever, and I have to wait for people to get back to me. So there's this like period of time where I can't do anything. So what I often do is I just play fighting games during that time. I'm like playing online. Okay, I'll answer an email like while I'm searching for a match or whatever. And so sometimes I'll play whatever Street Fighter, KI, Pokken, whatever. The Street Fighter experience is like way worse than the others. I can get 3-4 emails done while I'm looking for a match, which is like cool for my usage of it.
It's good for your work.
For my work, that's good, but it's ridiculous that I can get 3-4 emails done. And if for Pokken, I can write two words.
Yeah.
And then I already have another match.
That game finds matches so fast.
It's super
I
quick.
heard about it. I haven't played it, but I was watching someone play it, and it was like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
the
And I was like,
game
you have no downtime.
Like, it counts down from 10 seconds to 0, and you almost always have a match before it hits like 5.
See, that's ridiculous.
That's
I mean,
crazy,
I
yeah.
think that's crazy because, like, I play Street Fighter, right? I go home and I'm like, let's play Street Fighter. And then it's legit like, well, I'm one of those people, I like to play. I just like, give me all my matches.
Of course.
And I'm legitimately sitting there for like 10 to 15 minutes.
You
like,
gotta have something else to do. You
Hey,
gotta
yeah.
be
So, like-
playing Hearthstone, or you're in Civ, or something.
The fact that it's like League of Legends, where you're in a queue basically, and you have to kill time,
Yes.
is crazy. Because League of Legends has to find 10 people of similar skill levels.
Wow.
And it takes
And
about
it's
as and it takes about a long like Street. So I had like
Street Fighter
25.
doesn't even find people of equal skill level.
No, that's what I was about to say. The
Yeah.
matchmaking is horrendous. Like, I'm legit, like, I was like, well, if I just fought like 2 platinum guys, lost 500 points, like, I'm gonna get that back.
Next
Ultra
guy.
bronze.
Next
What
guy.
the hell is this? Like, did I lose all? Is that what I lost? The ability to play good players?
I was gonna when I was waiting, I think to like pick him up or something. I had like 25 minutes to spare, and I set a queue, and I didn't get a match before I had to go.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Jesus.
That sucks.
It was over 20 minutes. Because I remember like looking at the clock and being like, all right, it's been 10 minutes and I haven't had it. I just wanted to play Guile. I had not got a chance to play.
Here's one thing that I'm starting to think that happens though, right? Because I have it set to ask. Right?
Yeah,
I
did
didn't
too.
have it set to ask.
So I have it set to ask. So every time I get a match, it's like, here comes a new challenger, and it lets you push
That's what I do too.
I didn't even know you
You
could do
hit
that.
start to accept
And,
it.
and it
Okay.
shows their connection.
Yeah, it does.
And so pretty much, if I don't have 5 bars, I am kicking you. I
Yeah.
just do not play you. So
I have mine set to that.
Yeah, I just do 4 to 5.
Right,
bars.
but if you don't,
Five.
if you don't have a good connection, maybe you're just getting kicked over and over again, and
That's
you don't know.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking because
Right.
I have mine set to PlayStation 4
Interesting.
only because I don't want to play those people who are botting me. I can't take that. My
He's banned
anger
now.
can't
It's
stomach
like 2
that.
people. Come
Yeah.
on.
Okay,
I know.
you're saying that? Put like this. Unless I could see him, it's some crazy
He's
stuff
scared.
happening.
Scared.
Like, I'm legit terrified. Like, I'm like, this dude is not even moving, but he's beating me. Like, what is that? I'm bad, but I'm not that
I would
bad.
want to play against the bot. I think that's kind of fun.
It's fun.
Dude,
yeah.
we
What
did
the
one
hell
time.
is
we
wrong
were
with y'all?
doing
That is not fun. That
It
is
is
terrifying.
kinda fun.
Because
You
it was
think
fun
it's
to try to figure
terrifying?
out how to beat it.
If
you
I
know?
stayed with my mom, I would Mom! Like, that's exactly what would happen. The equivalent. I'd be like, this guy's cheating! Like, that's what would happen.
Yeah, but honestly, I only have it set to ask, and I only play 5 bars. And the thing about, for me, it's okay for me because I love training mode, right? So I can just sit in training mode and do stuff, the same combo 17 times in a row. And in fact, sometimes a match comes on, I'm like,
I
God
want to
damn it,
finish
like,
that combo.
let me finish checking, trying this test out.
So while we're talking about this, right? Like, it is lackluster. The game itself, when it comes to abilities by yourself and playing.
Yeah.
One of the things, I just feel like it wasn't as fleshed out. So, like, you can now, I think it's really good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's the best or I'm not saying it's the worst. But, like, I'll go to that option to set up to play, right? And it has ranked match and it has casual match. So you could technically put both of them on and be like, hey, and keep the matches going, which is really cool. One thing that don't like that they took out from Street Fighter 4 was the fact that you can play different characters. Because what if I want to play casuals with one character and rank with another?
I was just gonna say that. I wish you could search ranked with one and casual with another.
Exactly. So it's like it's just small stuff like that. And the more alone time we get with it, we're gonna nitpick and say, well, what about this and what about that? But the fact is, that's a blaring problem. Like you're like,
a lot of people want character select.
Yeah.
But it takes so long to find a match and get into a match and load and all that. That's like.
The loading is so long.
Yeah, that extra time, dude, it's crazy. Especially since I play on PC.
Yeah, me too.
So when I play KI on PC, it's so fast.
Yeah, you're just in there.
Yeah, you remember we were playing KI, and it would load so fast that the loading screen would still be on the screen when the match came up.
Yeah.
So it was actually impacting our match how fast it was loading.
Technology.
So we had to let like the intro play a little bit and then play.
Yeah. Never been a problem
in
for
Street Fighter 5. No. I don't think it is.
Yeah. Look, the game. I just wish at some point, like, if the CEO is going to admit that, then take the funds, hire somebody to just go. Look, here's the problems that you need to fix right now, and if they're small or big or whatever, like, please fix the button config.
Right.
Please let second player choose character
God,
select.
please. That is like my biggest. I can't believe that hasn't been fixed.
Like,
I thought that like first patch that was gonna be.
Yeah, like
it's the only game I can even think of that has had it like that.
Yeah,
ever.
It's terrible.
Since like 1992.
And it was designed specifically to be like tournament.
Right.
Like, they're like, this game has tournament play in mind. I'm like, I don't think so.
You know what the hardest part is, though, is that when you're developing stuff like that and you're like, oh, we'll fix this later, sometimes you get used to it and you forget. I've seen this happen a million times.
And that's what's
it's
crazy
not
to me.
excusable.
I'm just
it's
saying,
not excusable.
I've never ever seen a game do that ever.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Even at like events, people are like, why can't I pause it and go to character select as player 2? Like, and they're just like, oh,
I just think that's ridiculous. Like, I didn't understand how, because it didn't hit me until I went somewhere else and played, and I was like, because normally I'm player 1 and other people play, so I'm just going to say, and I went over somebody's house and I played, I'm like, why can't I go to character select? And then it hit me, I'm like, oh my god, this is as bad as they said it is.
Or even like when you want to change character as player 2 and then player 1 hits rematch and you're like, oh, I wanted to change character. Like in Street Fighter 4, you just like go down and hit character select and it's like, oh,
that's
fine.
something I don't know how you.
In every other game.
And not only that, but then you play Skullgirls, and if you unplug your controller, it shoots you all the way back, like automatically detects that you unplugged the controller. So to like automatically jump you out of that screen and go to like character select and stuff like that.
Yeah, tournament mode.
I don't know, man. And Mike Z has said that like there's issues with even the Legacy where it's like the Legacy is not supposed to work like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Guilty Gear demo came out and it's plug and play even with the Legacy, that's ridiculous to me because it's like you're playing with a TE1 and it's just like plug and play, bam, there it is, and I'm like, that's a demo.
It's a demo.
Somebody call Capcom because this is a demo.
Or even the fact that Legacy we found out now has 1 frame less lag than default.
Whatever.
But Legacy drops inputs.
Right.
So like,
and it's just annoying for tournaments,
dude,
right?
if your controller that it's attached to comes on, like, you know, you don't play on it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
then your stick dies.
Right.
Yeah.
Which has happened to me.
Your controller goes to sleep.
There's actually a setting that you can set it so it doesn't go to sleep, but
if it runs out of batteries,
right.
Like,
and the thing is, the only way to have batteries is to have it plugged into the console, which you're not going to do because the joysticks are plugged into there.
The console.
So you're going to have like 700 of these controllers on the side because they're just going to keep running out of batteries. So
I don't know. I mean, look, I feel like there are a couple things. One is maybe Capcom just doesn't have money. I don't know. I mean, I know that they had problems. Like they talked about it last year. Like they were having financial issues, but maybe it was even worse than I had realized. I don't know. If they really had one person making the online, or even if it was just CFN.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is a bad look. And if it's probably not just that. If it is that, it's probably also the disconnect between Capcom Japan and Capcom USA.
That's true.
Because I know that is really big, and it's not just. It comes up in marketing sometimes, like. Capcom USA totally had a trailer to show at a tournament, and Capcom Japan was like, "You guys can't show it at that tournament." And
that's
so that comes up. But when it comes to the actual game design, there's probably other things that are like that
that we don't hear about.
Yeah, like
sure.
Capcom Japan. You know, who knows which side it is? But I would definitely bet on Japan.
Yeah,
they're the side that put in the one-player thing, and I
could totally see Capcom USA is like, come on.
Commonwealth, like everybody there is like, what are you guys doing? Like this is gonna be changed, right? And they're like, and then they have to talk about finances. do we have enough money to fix this, or
Right.
do you want to fix the other thing? And it's got to be like one or the other.
That's always the thing. That's always the biggest problem is what's the big priority. And if you cannot, because the thing is, every feature costs amount of time. And it costs some people. Again, this is just software development here. So when you have a list of 70 features that you need to fix and tweak, or new characters to come out with or whatever, you're going to focus all of your resources on the one that is most impactful. You have to prioritize it, right?
Well,
so this 1-player, 2-player thing, it works.
Yeah, like
So,
it sucks, but it's not.
But it works, and so unfortunately it gets put at the end of the list. You know what I mean? Which is why I'm saying they need to hire one guy to just sit there and fix all those small things and be separate, like kind of like
they barely could afford one guy before though.
Yeah, like the
to
swing
do like
man.
all that stuff. So like they might not be able to afford having one guy do all this, especially since the game didn't sell super well.
And that's what I was just about to say, actually.
Like, yeah,
bleeding
it doesn't
over
help.
into the sales, right?
Yeah.
So Capcom is a company that needs to make money, regardless of how it works.
Of course.
And apparently the figures came out that it sold less than Pokken. As a ridiculous.
Duh.
I was about to say, like,
Definitely
for people
duh.
who think that that's crazy, you're stupid.
Like,
I'm
so-
sorry, I don't know. It's like if someone was selling air, and they're like, "Did you hear water sold more than air?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, we need the air."
Yeah.
You know? So,
The month it came out, they're like, yeah, Naruto on PS4 sold more than Street Fighter all together, and I was like, duh, it's
Yeah.
Naruto. Like, oh yeah,
You know
Call
what?
of Duty sold more
The
than Street
people-
Fighter.
the
Street
people-
Fighter's dead. It's like, yeah, for sure, Call of Duty is
people who
nothing.
are
Yeah.
surprised that Pokken outsold Street Fighter are seriously the people who
Who
think
don't know
the
who
Wii U
killed
sucks.
Pokken's dad, right?
Yeah,
they're the same
exactly.
people.
Yeah, uh-huh.
It's
The same people.
They were the ones who killed Pokken's dad. We found out the answer.
Pokken's now?
And
Oh,
now it's
Pokken's dad. Yeah,
Pokken's
exactly.
dad.
That's the one who killed Pokken's
Are
dad.
they brothers? Pokken?
The plot thickens?
So it's Pokemon, and Pokemon? Are they?
Are the three
That's
brothers?
No.
This
The
is a
dad-
legacy.
The dad is Pokemon, and the mom is Pokemon.
Oh my
Right, so
god,
there you go.
James has got it all figured out.
Oh,
There
man.
you go.
No, but like, yeah, is it really that surprising that those games all sold more? Duh.
Yeah.
It's
You're
like
a bad
super
person,
obvious.
James. That's right.
For sure, but because it didn't sell as much, not only did it sell less than those things, but it sold less than they projected.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So I mean,
yeah.
so that's really the problem. If
It
it had sold how many they had projected, even if it sells less than those other games, like you can
Right,
deal with
right.
that.
Right.
So,
But-
And here's another problem too: is that the Japanese. I mean, look, I know Capcom USA is picturing this as a long-term thing, right? But Japan just never functioned that way. They focus so heavily on initial sales, and that's a problem. That's why Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom development team just was completely dismantled.
Yeah,
after
the
the
right
game came
away.
out.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
when it came out, it didn't make any money because. Hey, the sequel was released less than a year after the first game.
That was
right?
crazy.
So a lot of people were like, "You really doing this to us, Capcom?" So they didn't buy it. But it actually turned out to be a really long-lasting game. Like it was. I heard that the sales of that game
Yeah.
lasted very
And-
long
and the-
because it was so
yeah.
hype at tournaments. You know.
Well, and it also, like I said, same thing applies. That also does not count the digital sales as well. So we don't even have those numbers from digital sales as well. Will it go up? Who knows? I don't know how the MPD affects the physical copy sales. I don't know, but I know that those numbers aren't counted for in the regular sales numbers. So I mean, you never know. We might have 1 billion people that downloaded Street Fighter V. Might be unlikely, but the fact of the matter is we do not know.
Right.
So. I mean, for me, that's basically it. We don't know everything. We don't know what they expect besides for initial sales and hard disk sales. That doesn't include digital. And we
Right.
don't know what their long-term, month-to-month, whatever the case may be.
Part of me thinks it's kind of silly to talk about it this much because there are just a bunch of good games now, and we don't need to be playing Street Fighter. I really like Street Fighter V. I really like my friends at Capcom, but I really like Pokken and Killer Instinct. And I don't play Gear, but it looks awesome, and I really respect that game.
Yeah.
It's Tekken. Like, there's a bunch of alternatives. The Smash games. There's a bunch of alternatives that we could be playing. We don't need Street Fighter. That's what it is.
You know
so
what?
if Street Fighter wants to screw up, there's actually a consequence, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, this happened 6 or 7 years ago. Maybe even more. So, me being the resident Madden player, this kind of happened, right? Madden came out year after year. didn't give you anything new. This is a real thing. Didn't give you anything new.
Yeah, it's just
and
updated rosters.
It's just updated rosters.
Right.
But Sega bought the NFL license, right? And they said, hey, we're going to make our game. And each year they gave you these crazy options. So they gave you real fatigue, and then they gave you the legacy mode, and then they gave you the super in-depth graphical upgrade, and then they still give you system changes as well. And each year they're trying to do better and better.
Right.
And Madden, even though they're selling 1 billion copies every year, they start to see that shift where this is like, hey, these guys are putting out a superior product.
Right.
We have to step it up. And it came to where the 2K games started outselling Madden.
Yeah. Like NBA 2K is like when you play
It's
basketball,
the better game.
You want that one.
Live does not NBA Live does not exist anymore because of that. They go from they went from every year to every other year now, and some of those games aren't even released on a disc.
Right.
They're download only. So that can be a thing. I mean, now that you say that, I just thought about it. That could actually be a thing. And the only thing that happened, EA ended up buying the NFL license. That's the only reason there's no other NFL games. So it actually just put them out of business. Now, apparently it's supposed to run out pretty soon, but a lot of these companies, they're not going to try to go back into that space and try to start all over again. Henceforth, Madden is the game, football game that you play. So that...
In the fighting games, that's just not the case right now.
It's not.
There's
But
too
like
many
you said,
other games to
it's a
play.
lot of good games out there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if this game was non-Street Fighter, it would be doing terrible.
Oh, it would.
No one would play it or care. They'd be like, oh, the gameplay's fun, but you know, it's whatever. Even if it has David and James as the inner announcers or whatever, it's a really fun game, Yatagarasu, but no one's gonna play it. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what if
this was
Persona
not
had come out and then had no first player mode, and it was that game would sell 10 copies.
Yeah. This version of the game, if it was called like anything else and had the same gameplay, no one would care.
So there's definitely a reprieve for Street Fighter because of that. But if they don't fix all these other things, and meanwhile sick games keep coming out, it's not going to be a long-term project.
That's the interesting part to me is if they actually got someone to concentrate on the small things, like that would actually be such a stronger sign of support from them than them just releasing the DLC characters one by one, because like we are expecting those characters. But if we all of a sudden saw in this next patch, second player can choose character select, all of a sudden the button config has changed, we'd just be like, oh sick, they're looking at all these things. All of a sudden Birdie's chain doesn't go through his neck.
That would be great.
You know,
well, and that's
Ken's
why
hair doesn't poke out of his clavicle.
There's a lot of active arrangement from these other companies now that you say that. I mean, look at Access with Guilty Gear in the demo and making sure that not only Japan gets to play it, but the entire world gets to play it if you reserve the game. We know you're going to buy the game, so here's the game that you're going to pay for. I mean,
The demo is so good.
It's so look at what Tekken is doing. Even though it's not available, you can go to these events and play it. One, two, they're making it accessible and they're keeping you updated on these things.
On the topic of them changing stuff, people have been complaining about all this stuff from Capcom. There was such an uproar about the enders in KI.
Yeah.
They patched the next patch. It was fixed. They're like, you can toggle it on or off whether you want to or not. Like, it's in the game.
The level 4 enders,
That fast.
Yeah.
And
that quick.
And worst of all, don't get me wrong, NetherRealm, you still are on my shit list for this, but at least they go in and they patch their games. Like, no matter how bad it is, if I can see Boone at a tournament and he's like, well, this is ridiculous, we're going to fix this. I respect that because he knows that that's stupid. So as much as anybody can say about NetherRealm and the way they're doing their games, you know Ed Boon cares. And with the Capcom thing, you know what I mean? Like, with the Capcom thing, them coming out and saying this is a step in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a step in the right direction. Infel says that based on tournament entries so far, it doesn't seem like it's the case that, Street Fighter could die and it's like no big deal.
Oh, no, it's not going to.
So it's not gonna. Yeah. But you're right that it's not gonna just because it's Street Fighter. So if they keep screwing up over time,
it'll decrease.
It's gonna decrease.
Yeah, it's on an upswing right now.
Yeah.
But I'm curious in a year or 2 or 3 how people feel if it didn't change. I have a feeling Capcom.
I mean, the hardest part about it, honestly, is that the gameplay is actually really good. It is really solid.
The game's fun.
Right.
But there's other games with great gameplay too.
There sure are. Yeah. And for the FGC, it's not a make or break game.
Right.
Like we've learned that. Like the fact that this is something that Mike Ross was talking about with us, which is a fascinating point, which is that it's in a way almost a blessing in disguise that the game sold so terribly because The fact that there are still huge tournaments, 4,000 people are still playing it at EVO. We're getting more people watching and entering and going to tournaments, even though the game sold terribly, and even though it's garbage outside of the gameplay itself, and even though a lot of people are mad. So that's like a proof of the FGC's staying power, the fact that we're not like a one game thing.
Right.
We're gonna be fine if Street Fighter isn't even here. It's not so.
And not even just that, but we're actually driving the popularity of Street Fighter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That
driving.
Commercial is FGC. I mean, that's 95% FGC.
The best promotion for the game right now is tournaments.
Yeah, because
look, nothing else
they
is
got
even close.
1.4 million sales. They projected 2 million, right, by the end of the fiscal year. Now, here's the funny thing. When it first started out, no one probably even thought it was even going to get to that, especially based on the reviews that it got and all the bad press it got. But the fact that it made it to 1.4, I think really just comes down to the fighting game community and how powerful we are. So,
well, I don't know that I want to
put money
take
into the fighting game community.
I mean, I'm not sure that we can take responsibility for the sales so far, but I think the better point, at least for us, is that the sales of one game aren't make or break for a community. Yeah. We're doing all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until Riot makes their game and we're all controlled by them.
And then we are out of here.
We're done. That's that. This show would get canned so fast.
Instantly.
I'd be like, I sort of didn't like the changes in the last patch. And an axe would come flying in and face. Done. Riot
guys kicking the door. Please, somebody move!
Riot would assassinate me on the spot. It would be so fast. And they'd have another generic white guy with the beard to replace me that quick.
Dude, they have a
whole
storeroom with those dudes.
Wow.
They have like
have you seen their casters? Oh my god.
They're
they
like
look
me,
just
but prettier.
like us.
Yeah,
we're identical people. I'm telling you. You can't tell.
They're like us, but prettier and tamer.
Definitely.
We're like
way
joking about Riot coming and killing it. They're literally down the street.
They are. That's the scary part.
Every time we leave,
fast.
they come and collect the microphones that they have placed around the studio just to see what we were talking about in the downtime.
Look, they actually did just ban a famous commentator who owned a team. Okay, so this is the whole story.
Monty, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a famous commentator, caster, who went into the team owning business, and they banned him, and they banned his team, and they were like, you got to sell off your team in 10 days, you're out of here.
Yeah, that's
and
a real
he
thing.
is a famous commentator, and they are. Who cares?
Yep.
Who cares?
One day. And what was it for? Can we say what was it for?
Oh yeah, they said in the ruling, they like.
There's a bunch of allegations.
They allege that there's some like mingling of finances with other teams, which is against the rules, which I can guarantee you is inaccurate.
The names are backwards. Have they been backwards this whole entire time?
Oh,
I don't know.
You guys, switch where you're sitting. So.
Was Steve always here?
Oh, I was sitting here
last week. This is where I was.
So we have the Twitter names backwards.
Either way, follow both of them.
That dude can still commentate. So
he can, but he can't own a team.
Hey man.
Well, obviously,
we're gonna destroy your investment, and you gotta get out of there. But yeah, you can hang around. It's all right. Yeah, but hey, it's all good, man. You know what's funny too is in the ruling they actually say so. His name's Christopher, but he commentates as Monte Cristo.
Yeah,
they're like. Yeah, so Christopher can't own a team anymore, but Monte Cristo can still commentate.
It's like super funny though.
Like it's two different people.
Like he's a split personality.
Yeah, it was super weird.
He puts on the hat. I'm Monte Cristo.
Yeah, when he has the tie, as soon as he ties the tie and gets on camera, he becomes a new person.
They're like cursing at him around the office. You son of a bitch! You throw us under. Oh, it's Monte Cristo. Sorry.
It's fine. He points to the tie. Hey man,
it's me.
It's me.
Look, dude, we're on the clock right now. Sorry, I thought you were that one guy. You here with that son of a bitch, kid?
It's like when Superman puts on the glasses and you're like, I'm Clark Kent, but he's wearing the Superman outfit still. You're like, so when they make their game and we are all become casters, this show will be super neutered. You'll never hear us say mean things again, or the axe will come flying in, and it'll suck. I'm not looking forward to any of that. The game's going to be great. See you guys there. Capcom is sending their employees, but they're so far away, they'll never make it.
They're just waiting. They're like, as soon as they come out of here, we are taking them down. Hard. Shoot to kill. 8 frames a lag. Put it on.
They're tuning. You can run away. Right?
Yeah, they're tuning. Oh, man.
Anyway, all right. So
they send Combo Fiend. He's just coming down here all huge and everything. We'd be done. That would be so fun.
Combo Fiend would kill us so
you guys would be done.
Yeah.
Steve would be okay.
I was going to say.
It'll be a fight. It'll be like the Hulk versus Iron Man fight and Age of Ultron. I'm like, I'm sorry.
I picture it being like Zangief versus like some more mobile character.
He's
like,
too big.
I feel like he probably
He wouldn't make it
not
through that
fast.
doorway.
He's nowhere near as fast as me. It's not possible.
I'm not the fastest guy, but I feel like I'd be alright.
I think so. That doorway is too big or too small for him. There's no way he could fit his arms.
Damn,
he
It's a natural barrier.
I'm here in the name of Capcom. Nobody move. He just picks you up. Oh God! But you know who's dead though?
Wow. Dang.
Hey,
You're saying he has neither speed
I
nor
just
strength?
spent that whole entire time fixing the names.
Oh, he did.
I fixed the names, and this is how I get repaid.
Look, I'm just giving you facts.
You go, look, that's why you have me on the team. So when the zombie apocalypse breaks out, I'm the one that gets eaten and distracts all the zombies.
This is true.
Appreciate it, James.
That's what you're part of.
That's an important role.
Hey man, the Asian guy on Walking Dead is still alive, okay?
Or is he? I don't know if you guys seen that last season.
Oh.
Who knows? Who knows? Anyways.
All right, what were we
I don't
talking
know
about?
anything about it. All right, is that it for this topic?
Yes.
All right, probably is. Yeah.
You want to take a break?
Let's take a break. Let's briefly cover event results when we come back.
All right.
8 frames of ads.